The 10 most hilarious episodes of Jimmy Fallon. American comedian, actor, writer, singer, and producer Jimmy Fallon has quite a fan following across the world. He hosts a late-night talk show, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, which is often packed with laughter and funny moments. In this video, we're counting down to the top 10 most hilarious episodes on The Jimmy Fallon Show. We're going to reveal the most hilarious Jimmy Fallon moment in the end, so stay tuned. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Let's get it going. 10. Jimmy interviews Khaleesi. No, we're not talking about the real Khaleesi. It was an interview with Kristen Wiig doing an impression of the famous Game of Thrones character. Kristen Wiig is known for her comic impressions of some of the most popular celebrities. And when she dressed up as Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, there were some fun moments on the show. From sporting a blonde wig to balancing a fake dragon on her shoulder, Kristen did it all just like the Queen of Dragons from the extremely popular show. On the episode, both Wiig and Fallon broke out into laughter on many occasions, since the lady clearly had no idea about the character she was playing. Her answers to most of Fallon's questions were way off base and led to both of them laughing out loud a lot, but they also had us laughing too. One of the most memorable moments on the show was when Jimmy asked Khaleesi what her real name was.
What is your real name?
Since she didn't know the real name of the character, she said Karen, and Jimmy almost fell down laughing. There's nothing more hilarious than celebrities getting super scared at the silliest of things. 9. Kevin Hart gets scared by Robert Irwin's animals. Kevin Hart himself is a pretty funny person, and when he made an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon's recurring guest, Robert Irwin, sparks were bound to fly. We know Irwin always appears on the show with a bunch of peculiar animals, and this time was no different. When Jimmy asked him what all he had brought to the show, Irwin responded that he was starting with something very cute and cuddly, and then gestured towards Kevin's back saying, "This is Giselle." Kevin jumped up at that since he was clearly not expecting an animal to come out of the space at his back. While the animal in question was a baby ostrich that was brought out by one of Irwin's helpers, Hart's stunted expression was enough to get the fun ball rolling. As Irwin sat describing Giselle's characteristics, Kevin was more and more surprised, and his remarks were super hilarious. While introducing the next animal, Irwin had both Jimmy and Kevin stand up to the sound of a drum roll as he brought out a snake named LeBron. Kevin was standing at least 10 spaces away from the snake the whole time Irwin described it, and his scared and embarrassed expression was enough to send us into fits of laughter. One of the most talked about segments on The Tonight Show is the Best Friends Challenge. 8. Best Friends Challenge with Justin Timberlake. When Jimmy played the game with Justin Timberlake, it was a treat to watch. The rule of the game was simple. You pick out a question from the Best Friends box, and then the other person guesses how they think you would answer that question. The first question that Jimmy picked out was, what is our preferred mode of transportation when we're hanging out outside the show? While both men laughed to the question itself, Justin remarks that he knew the answer and wrote it down. Jimmy wrote down the answer to that simultaneously, and then both showed the answers they had written. Both had written, tandem bike. No points for guessing which direction the episode took after that. Both men laughed at the many occasions, and the answers that came up were quite hilarious. Another popular segment on the show is the Try Not to Laugh Challenge. 7. Try Not to Laugh Challenge with Benedict Cumberbatch. Benadryl Cucumber Snatch is best known for his role as the Grinch. He made an appearance on The Jimmy Fallon Show to talk about his film, and needless to say, some very non-Grinchy moments followed. Unlike the Grinch, who is always serious and grumpy, on the show, when Jimmy challenged Benedict to a game of Try Not to Laugh, the celebrity couldn't help but show his teeth. Several clips played on the monitor, and both Jimmy and Benedict had to watch them without laughing. While both men lost on their first try, Benedict was up by 1 point as he kept a straight face to a rather funny clip. Jimmy, in turn, lost again as the clip that played for him was extremely hilarious, and even Benedict laughed out loud to it. It left Jimmy laughing for a good minute, and Benedict too could be seen wiping his tears. In the final round, both of them had to try not to laugh to the same clip, and Benedict won again since Jimmy was still high on his laughter from the previous clip. This was an episode that left the audience roar with peals of laughter. Up next, what happens when Jimmy plays charades with not one, not two, but 3 celebrities? 6. Charades with Jamie Foxx, Taron Egerton, and Zoe Deutsch. The rules of the game were simple. The 4 people were divided into 2 teams, and each of them had to take turns giving silent clues to their teammates about the terms written on the cards. The final round was supposed to be a charades showdown. It's not hard to guess what this episode was packed with. Tons and tons of ROFL moments. The first clue that Jimmy had to give Zoe was about the Vampire Diaries, and they lost miserably. Then came Jamie and Taryn's turn, and Taryn had to guess The Silence of the Lambs. Ooh, tough one. However, surprisingly, with Jamie's rather funny portrayal of the movie name and Taryn's quick guessing skills, they had the name in less than 20 seconds. While the game continued with both teams tying on the same score, in the final round, Taryn and Jamie took it away by guessing Finding Nemo correctly. The episode was not just funny, but also rather interesting. Sometimes people can continue to laugh for apparently no reason at all. 5. Bradley Cooper and Jimmy can't stop laughing. While Jimmy isn't the best when it comes to interviewing guests, even in his weakness, he can make people laugh out loud. Bradley Cooper made an appearance on The Tonight Show to discuss his Broadway show, The Elephant Man. Though it should have been a pretty standard interview, to spice things up, both men sat wearing football fan caps attached with silly wigs. Although the questions and answers during the episode weren't meant to be the least bit funny, both Jimmy and Bradley couldn't help but continuously laugh at how stupid the other looked. Their giggle fits were enough to send the audience into peals of laughter as well. Throughout the interview, it was a delight to see the two men try to control their funny bones, but to no avail. Finally, when they could control it no longer, Bradley stood up and walked off the stage laughing, and Jimmy fell on the floor with the audience roaring with hoots and applause. Jamie Foxx is one guest who's been on The Tonight Show multiple times. 4. Wheel of Musical Impressions with Jamie Foxx. This is another of our favorite sections in the Jimmy Fallon Show. How it works is this. The Wheel of Musical Impressions needs both Jimmy and his celebrity guest to hit a button which activates a musical impressions generator. It then lands on a random singer and a random song, and the person who hit the button has to do the impression of that singer doing that song. While on the episode, the rules seemed a little confusing at first when we saw what Jimmy did with them. It was outrageously funny, to say the least. We know Jamie Foxx is an extremely funny person off-screen, and when he was asked to do an impression of Mick Jagger doing Hakuna Matata, we knew we were in for a treat. The impression he did was simply out of this world. Then it was Jimmy's turn, and he had to do an impression of Barry Gibb doing I Love You, You Love Me, the Barney song. Jimmy too didn't do too badly with his turn, and both men ended up having a good laugh at the end. The dance battle segment on The Tonight Show has seen some of the most popular celebs show off some crazy dance moves. 3. Dance battle with Jennifer Lopez. In this particular instance, a smartly dressed Jennifer Lopez was up for a dance battle with Jimmy Fallon. Jennifer started off by saying, "You know how competitive I get."
You know how competitive I am.
To which Jimmy responded by saying, "It's like you're looking in a mirror."
It's like you're looking in a mirror. Come on, come on.
Implying that he was extremely competitive too. The rules of the segment were, both Jennifer and Jimmy had to pull out the name of a dance move from a bag and then make up a brand new dance as per that move to the song that played in the background. Jimmy started off and pulled out the move, putting on skinny jeans. This meant that he had to dance like he was putting on skinny jeans to the song that was playing in the background. While he didn't do rather badly, when Jennifer pulled out washing machine on spin cycle, she did amazingly well with her twisting her waist and her head to the song. While it was funny to us, Jennifer termed it as another embarrassing moment on network TV for her. Now this next clip will have you laughing out loud for sure. 2. Point Pleasant Police Department with Bill Hader. Bill Hader and Jimmy Fallon have known each other for a long time, and Jimmy started off the segment by acknowledging this as well. Both men share an amazing rapport, and we knew things were about to get tickly when Jimmy mentioned that they were both in a TV show together. Well, that never happened. Both men talked about it like it was something from the 80s, that they both remember pretty well. Like Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader is one of Jimmy's SNL buds. Otherwise, there was no way he would have gotten to do the bit we're about to view next. As the segment progressed, a fake clip from the show Point Pleasant Police Department was shown, in which both Jimmy and Bill dressed up as cops cramming their mouths with food. Both then tried to talk through their stuffed mouths, spraying each other with the chewed up bits while emphasizing the letter P. No points for guessing how messy it all was, but at the end of the day, the audience as well as Jimmy and Hader got a good laugh out of all of it. And finally, we're down to our number 1 entry on the list. I saved the best for last, but first I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. So if you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it. It really works. 1. Lip sync battle with Emma Stone. The gorgeous Emma Stone made an appearance on The Tonight Show to discuss her movie, The Spider-Man 2. We know Jimmy has this tradition of playing silly games with his guests, and this episode was no different. He convinced Emma of engaging a lip-sync battle with him in which both had to take turns lip-syncing well-known songs, each trying to lip-sync better than the other. Jimmy started off by lip-syncing Fancy, and we have to say, he did a great job of it. Though he set the bar pretty high, when Emma revealed her choice of song and began lip-syncing, she had the audience and us drop our jaws at her prowess. Even Jimmy had to admit that she was wonderful at the job, and undoubtedly this episode was one of the best on The Tonight Show. So which episode do you think was the most hilarious? Do let us know in the comment section below, and remember, subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thanks for watching, and have an excellent day.